I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Why? I guess. Well, the people who put me here are human, and the people who took my parents away are human too. Or do you mean because I'm a... Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child screws up his face and looks at you hard. He lifts his mirror up to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see. I guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary.
Garbage. I thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder in which order.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright blood-red color. Never before have you seen a lizard such as this. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Pleased to make my acquaintance, are you? I see your short-term memory fails you where mine does not. Why, only a few hours ago, I saw you skulk about that ship like a lost child in search of its mother. But you weren't a lost child, were you? You weren't an innocent at all. Word has reached me, you see, through a very sour grapevine indeed, that you turned your back on your fellow passengers. Left us to fend for ourselves. So much easier, isn't it, to look out for oneself alone? Sorry is a word for the weak. Stand by your actions. They were actually entirely justified as far as I'm concerned. Besides, I wasn't fishing for an apology. I was merely making a point. About oneself. Alone. So, if there's nothing further... If you really must know, I haven't quite decided yet. I've a frightful amount of things on my mind, hence my standing here contemplating the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Oh, may the Seven have mercy on their own creation. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World Tamer, the spouse of the Sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. Even if it comes from the very person that left me and others to rot on a sinking. You do look able, though. Despite your selfish tendencies. Tendencies to which I'm no stranger, truth be told. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer. One of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, Milord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado...
A black cat. Hello, kitty.
One, two, long out of the creek. 3, 4, pretty shell on the shore. Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? Sure wish you'd gone back to save the others. Though, I did see one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. So I guess some of them survived. I never want to...
Need I repeat myself?
But I know nothing of any Verdus.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escape.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come.
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere. I told him at noon exactly, didn't I?
Vara, she ain't coming back.
The lizard magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair.
It's time to accept
Mercy. Mum wasn't kidding.
Come on then, Lexi. Pay up.
I find out.
Did you see them, sir? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself. They were so close, almost within arm's reach. A traitor cannot be murdered. A traitor can only receive their due. The divine order's all that stands between everything you see and a Void Woken's throat. Any traitor to them is a traitor to us all. Believe it or don't. The divine order doesn't need our loyalty. They'll save us in spite of ourselves.
This is not your business, Long Pig.
Don't let this moss muncher talk to you like that. Especially a cheapskate like this. And
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf.
just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no business of yours.
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment before shuffling back to the protector.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you.
The intense-looking man stands beside you against the thugs, shooting you in a prey. Burrow looks you both up and down, sizing up your combined.
Ah, get out of here. The both of you. You ain't worth the sweat of my brow.
The elf smiles and bows to you in thanks.
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
The man rolls his sleeves back down. He nods at you, the shadow of a smile on his lip.
Good work there. Good work. I can tell you've got chops.
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours. He grips your hand tight as a vice and shakes it, hard.
Good to meet you, lad. Say, you don't look all that busy. I could use someone to watch my back, and it looks like you could use someone to watch yours. I've just got a small errand to run. And then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here, while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place? The usual way. Haphazard, terrifying, and drenched in blood. Haven't quite worked out the details yet, but I'll wager it'll be no worse than what'll happen if we stay put. 2 heads are better than 1. And when push comes to shove, 4 fists are better than 2, right?
He grins, sharp teeth glittering in the midday sun.
So, before we hit the road, it's best if we decide battle strategies up front. Should keep more of our survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But if a wayfarer's not what you're after, I've got other skills. What do you need? Dexterous arts. What are you looking for exactly? A tapestry embroiderer? Can do. Onwards.
He scans the horizon for threats with one green eye, then nods back at you.
Right you are. Lead the way.
You there. You've just arrived, isn't that right? Are you quite alone? Oh, very droll. Listen up. You must think me mad to approach a stranger, but this camp is full of cowards, and I'm running out of time. Fast. Too fast. Way too fast. I've been here a long time. Longer than anyone else. People get taken sometimes. Some folks say they get cured. I don't know if I believe it, and I don't want to wait and find. I have a way out of here. It won't be easy, and I need... Are you interested? Attaboy. Who wouldn't? Finally, someone. The plan's simple, completely foolproof. I have a spell that I can use to teleport you right out of here. I can't use it on myself, but with your help, there's an artifact that you can use to teleport me out of this place. Then I can use my spell to free you in turn. This item, though, it's in quite an It's found its way into a nest of crocodilians on a secluded beach nearby. Here, give me your map and I'll show you where to go. I'm glad you're of such a mind. I never was one for gore myself, but never mind. I've got the plan and you get that artifact. And you and I are as good as free. Go...
An odd-looking young woman is staring intently at the statue to the divine, fingers curled rigidly at her sides. Greyish-black veins run from her eyes down her cheeks. Her head snaps to you mechanically, and her eyes lock with yours, dark pupils dilated into great black voids. Light suddenly flashes back into her face. The grey veins drain to pinkish flesh, and her whole body relaxes.
Hi, who are you, some guy? I'm Losa. Pleased to meet you. Wait, you mean you don't recognize me? Ha! This is great. Really, well, it's a damn good story. Well, I was giving this concert up on Overlook Hill. There was a great crowd. They were really feeling it. But I guess it was too good. I had me a little sauce flare-up. Everyone went a bit, I don't know, wild, rabid. I snapped out of it before anyone got hurt, but the Magisters caught me backstage afterwards. Really? Are you hospitable too? Put it like this. You've never been a host, I bet. That's because you're an infested clump of leaves on the side of the road. That ain't bad, though. I'd give just about anything to be like you. But I'm a roadside inn. Red door, flowers out front, friendly lady at the door beckoning you in for half price. Like a goddamn gold star inn for the disembodied. Now, isn't that just the question of the hour? I can't be sure just yet. I'll be surprised if it's a demon. Definitely not a sprite either. Maybe a spectre, but I wouldn't bet money on it. So, how are you enjoying the joy? Yeah, same story here. Reckon in my case, they might actually be right, though. So, you want to check this place out together? Strength in numbers and all that. And don't worry, by the by. I forgive you for leaving me to drown on that ship. Surprise! We could have. But a few of us made it out in any case. One of those kids, too, told us all about it. But don't worry, manslaughter happens. It hasn't stopped me from thinking it'd be a good idea to travel together. What do you say? It does, right? Before we head out, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve, so you'll have to pick which one I'll pull out if... Lately I've been into the enchanting arts, but I can shoot, slash. Don't know if you could tell, but mysticism's kinda my speciality. Let's get into the nitty-gritty while we're at it. What sounds fine? So we're good to go? Yeah? Well, that was easier than I...
Don't tell anyone where you got this, eh?
So this is Fort.
Hey, you're a little light in your pack, ain't you, mate? Who could blame you with the garbage they got for sale round here? Why don't you take a gander at the goodies I got? Stuff you won't find anywhere else in camp. Let's just say folks leave here, but they don't seem to take their effects. Maybe. Only the finest, you know.
Ain't fit for beasts. Worse than war rations, these. Ain't fit for beasts. Perhaps if those bleeding dwarves didn't eat so much.
See if you spirit to fight the Reaper. Frightfully busy at the moment, love. Haven't got any liquor on hand, have you? This fella. All the wars for old Dane. He crossed one of Griff's card sharks and got a club to the skull. Doomed to be sure, but I would have...
Just as you're about to address the
This man is a dreamer. As you know, I need a word with him. Permission indeed.
He bids the dreamer stand up and pay attention. Which the dreamer then chews and swallows a handful of Drudene leaves. He falls asleep. To your surprise, the Red Prince lies down and follows. The Red Prince pinches the bridge of his nose in apparent irritation before turning his back on the jabbering dreamer. You receive a withering glance in
A deserved bit of sarcasm, I suppose. But though this stingtail fellow may be a less than stellar specimen in the firmament of dreamers, the dreams themselves prove to be quite aloof. Turns out I'm being hunted by an enemy I didn't know actually existed. The the dreamers, though, they're on my side. That's because you haven't seen that other world in all its glory. It is... Oh, I was born with the promise of an empire. But to keep it, I must find a Bahara is her name.
You know, I could tell you all about swamp dreamers too if I chewed that much Drudene.
Oh, do hold your prickly tongue.
Cowrie, cockle, lamb.
The woman looks out on the gently lapping waves.
Haven't seen you around here before. New? Well, don't worry too much if you have a hard time settling in. Takes a while to get used to the place. You here alone?
She gives you a long...
Maybe you ought to give those companions of yours another chance. Some of us haven't got anyone. Maybe they mean something to you after all. Used to be I had a family. A husband and a little boy. We were healers. Source was in our blood, and they brought us here. I couldn't stop them from taking my boys from me when they did. Reckon they were cured. Maybe even released. Don't know why now I'm just waiting for him to call my name. Waiting and remembering.
Her eyes sparkle.
Kind of you to ask. Stefan, he was my little one. Smart as a whip and no less wicked. And my husband, he was called Felix. He was an expert healer. Could fix a broken bone in a short minute.
She talks for some time about birthdays, about Felix's prickly beard. Joy radiates from her as she remembers. She places a warm hand on...
What a gift to think of them. I'd like to give something to you too. A family recipe. One of Felix's best. He'd be happy to know. Take care of yourself. You hear?
I found you, didn't I? Red, they said. Red, then dead. Them that pay the bills, of course. I'll be a rich man when you're 6 feet under. Time's up, Your Highness. Let's dance. It's stabbing time.
Damned nuisance these assassins are. It's their frightful manners I mind the most, really. That was rather fun, wasn't it? I do find it ever so invigorating to cut a cutthroat's throat. Oh, one gets used to this kind of thing so quickly. This is hardly the first time someone's filled some poor fool's purse and bid him kill the prince. I'll tell you what, though. The House of Shadows will have to do a lot better if it seeks to get the better of me. All those bumblers they've sent so far mark a mere insult to my swordsmanship.